How's it going, guys? I got a little video here I want to make about the tech age and how it's going to be the end of us all. So, the internet's a great thing. If if it wasn't for the internet, I wouldn't be able to post this video, let's be quite honest. But how many people have said that? Probably quite a few in their tenure here on YouTube. But pretty much what I want to say is how technology is evil. I mentioned this in the Hillary video I did previously to this one. The thing is about the internet is that we can't live without it. We can't live without it. Now, there's statistics out that it's making us more retarded. We're more reliant on information. The minute we can't think of something, remember back in the day, it would kill us, and then eventually we'd push our minds to such a point that we would be forced into remembering certain things. Now, what do? We take the easy way out and we just look it up on Google, right? No thought required, no research needed. It's about pushing your brain and your mind to another level, to achieve knowledge. And, it's like it is taking the easy way out, you could say. And also using GPS, I'm even the victim of this. Hey, let me tell you guys, when I'm talking about people being addicted to technology and becoming zombies and slaves to it, I'm one of those slaves too. Hey, listen, it's really funny, but like, if it wasn't for GPS, I would probably be like a master of navigation, a lot like my father. But because I was born into a time when GPS, had been popularized, I pretty much rely on it. You'd be surprised, even places I've been to before, I'm still even a little bit unsure and I have to rely on it. Now, of course, that's going to get me comments about me being retarded and just stupid pretty much, and you pretty much know, but you use the GPS as well. Almost every single friend that I've been in the car with who's maybe a better navigator than me still relies on the GPS, or at least turns it on just for the hell of it. And like, I've even had to tell certain friends that like why are you following the GPS? I have followed the GPS. I remember here, you guys know I live in New York, going out to Long Island with my then ex-girlfriend, and we were looking for a veterinarian, a specific veterinarian that was supposed to be relatively inexpensive and highly recommended. So like, I could not find where it is. For anybody like wondering like where it was in Bayshore, which is all the way out in the fucking boonies of Long Island. Nice area, but it's like in the middle of nowhere. It's pretty much, if you ever wanted to hide a body, I guess that would be the perfect place to do it. So I followed that GPS, and I followed it until it like brought me to a dirt road. And I was like almost going to say, oh, well, let's see what's down this dirt road, until my ex at the time told me, I don't think that's a good idea. And the thing is, I kind of like said to myself, what am I doing? Like, I'm going to believe this machine over common sense. Common sense would tell you not to go to this narrow dirt road that barely seemed to be, like navigational. Like it did not seem like you could even travel on top of it. It was very like close to the water itself, and if you guys saw it, you would be like, Brad, don't even fucking try it. But I was going to attempt it, trying to make my girlfriend happy, trying to her cat, who was sick at the time, we were trying to bring the cat in, and I was kind of like determined, but it was stupid to follow a fucking machine to the ends of the earth, so to speak. So I mean, there you go. The internet is also a place of disinformation, even with alternative media. I even see it now. People post things up on Facebook and they just believe it. Oh, this is the alternative media, this is and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. For example, like salon.com, that's alternative media, and they're fucking nut jobs over there. I remember the amazing atheist said it best. Like, all media is bullshit. You kind of just have to pick, what's the bullshit and what's not. You kind of have to weed through it. So there's that. But the thing is, there's some news sources that I trust more than others. You guys know where I stand pretty much. I'm not gonna like dance around it pretty much. There is a lot of truth to what Alex Jones says, and I listen probably more to him than to us, because he's ended up being right. Pretty much anything ever written in the New York Times ended up being wrong. In fact, they were paid off by the Pentagon to even write certain stories. So you could see Alex Jones not paid off, but the New York Times is. So you can see why I choose to sometimes believe what's said on InfoWars more than what's in the New York Times. Especially, because they hit the nail on the head, and the fact that their reporters actually go out into the field and actually talk to people and see what's going on, unlike all these other forms of media who don't go out and talk to the people, instead posting up fake polls that we know are untrue, but yet we believe them anyway. And what's funny is how hard we rely on these polls. For example, I see people saying that Trump or Hillary's going to win based on these polls, and even though every single poll for the primaries proved to be wrong, hey, I'm not even going to just say Trump. To make people happy, there were polls that said that Bernie Sanders was going to lose to Hillary Clinton. They ended up winning because they were rigged. Everything is rigged, and people don't want to realize that. And that's because of the internet. They believe it. And the other thing is, just think about how self-absorbed and narcissistic the internet has made us. I want to also bring this up as well. Think about it. We're sitting there, I'm guilty. People who have me on social media know I like to take a selfie or two. You guys know that I enjoy working out. Hell, I've been caught doing plenty of selfies, posing to kind of show my progress in the gym. It's narcissistic, it's self-centered, and I think it's kind of almost like a bad thing, because we're so into ourselves, we don't even see what's going on around in the world. It's just, it's just really funny to just sit here and kind of think about it. It's we have our own little profiles, our own little pages on the internet, and, we're very protective of this, and, it's very odd, even like I said, with the internet dating. We're reaching out to strangers on the internet. Years ago we were we said strangers, we're not going to talk to strangers. We don't even know these people. So I would say to myself, years ago, oh, this is going to be someone's going to end up getting raped through this. And they have. There's been Craigslist dating rapists. There's been, people who have done deals on Craigslist selling products and shit like that, and they've been raped. They've been violently attacked and things like that. And it's look what happens, because the internet is, I don't know, I guess it gives you an added sense of confidence because there's a barrier between you. The only thing is, though, eventually you're gonna have to meet up, whether it's for a date or for whatever the exchange is that you're using the internet for. But it's just you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know who you're dealing with because of that digital barrier. And very few people really stop to think about that. They don't even really think about that too much, and they really should. They should really stop and ponder exactly, who you're dealing with. It's really dangerous. Like I said, I've done internet dating for years, and it is dangerous. Who the hell knows if you're talking to a catfish? Who the hell knows if those pictures are even real? They could have stolen them off of somebody's Facebook. It's you really have to think about what you're doing. And I don't know, it's just something about the internet. It doesn't want us to think. It doesn't want us to think because it does the thinking for us. So with that in mind, you go and do these other activities on here, and it's just, I don't know, it's even just a sense, just talking to women on the internet. I don't know, it's just it just, to me, I don't know, there's something, it's slimy and stuff. It's just like, for example, when a girl posts a picture on IG, for example, for all to see, and she's showing off cleavage and everything, and you're like, oh man, you want that girl, and then I'm thinking to myself, do I really want this girl, like, who's flaunting herself? I mean, I thought about this. I mean, like, any man is like turned on by a girl wearing leggings, for example, and she's showing her ass off and everything. You're like, oh man, I want that. But pretty much what you're saying is that you want sex from that particular girl. I mean, would you really want to be walking around with somebody where everybody's going to be looking at her in that way? And I'm not, hey, you guys know how I feel about Islam, and you know how I feel about the Muslims, like, having women wear burqas and shit like that. But I'm saying, there's a way of dressing a bit more conservatively without, drawing so much attention to yourself. And it's like, I don't really know how I feel about that. That's something that's going on in my mind. I don't want somebody to dress like an old lady, but then again, it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe that's because I'm a jealous person to a certain extent. I'm not like super jealous. I'm not like stark raving mad jealous, but I don't know. I thought it was just, it's something that weighs on my mind, is what I should say. So when you see these girls on the internet, it's kind of like, I feel like sometimes they're whoring themselves out, and even though they're beautiful, they're sexy, and you want to take them down, it's kind of like you really kind of just stop and think, and you're like, you know what? It's like, do I really want to be with this person? And it's, everybody on the page just makes it so unattractive. When the girl has thousands and thousands of likes, and I guess that really takes away from, how desirable a woman. So like when you just saw them on the street or at a bar and something, and the only thing that really stood between you was like not a digital barrier, but just like the air. You could approach that woman, and now I don't know. I think also the internet has kind of destroyed people's confidence. I think it's kind of dumbed down, the dating scene. And I've done videos on this. Check them out if you want. I've talked at length about the dating scene and how I feel about it, and how I feel that it's a very, very intimidating world now, not for the women themselves, but the fact that you can't really trust anybody, and you can't trust anybody's loyalty. And that's also the blame, like I said, for the internet. And the people called bullshit on that, but I think the majority actually agreed with me. It's dumbed us down to a point where we feel that we have more options because the internet takes us to places wherever we want to go, and we're hoping that it takes us to even greater happiness. The internet that's what's so great about it, and that's what's so great about technology, the endless possibilities. The fact that you think that you could explore the internet and you find something better. I mean, it really is. It's kind of like now I know, like, even though you get into a relationship, you're still going to go on IG. You're still going to want to search, for all those hot girls, and you're still going to want to like their pictures. You don't want to worry about, your girlfriend getting mad about that. And it's like, you kind of really think about it, and it's like, these are the things that really, you wouldn't have to worry about that, because there was no Instagram, years and years ago. Now there is, so now that's something that you have to worry about, and now your girlfriend has to worry about you looking at those pictures, liking those pictures, and, kind of swooning over a girl that you don't even know. It's just, I'm just saying, this is why the internet is going to eventually end up destroying the fabric of society. If it hasn't already, I mean, it might. It definitely has destroyed certain aspects of society. I just thought it needed to be pointed out. So like I said, I'm not anti-technology. I think you guys know I'm a frequent user of YouTube. That would make me look foolish and like a hypocrite. I'll get called that anyway, no matter what here on YouTube. So I've come to accept that. Everybody says that, if I change something what I said, or somebody doesn't really remember something I said, I'm automatically a hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite for life here on YouTube. So I have to live with that label, and that's a label that I'll live with. I really don't care. I know what I am. So these are just some interesting things that I want you guys to think about. Do you agree with me? Do you not? Do you think I'm fucking insane? Do you agree that even though technology has brought forth a lot of possibilities, that it is going to pretty much be the end of us? So the thing is, it's like, so how can we improve this? Do we take the internet away? Do we take away certain aspects of the internet? We know that's not going to happen. That's highly unlikely. If anything, that would be going backwards in technology. But the thing is it like, just think about it. Are some people too smart, or some people too creative, where they use technology and they kind of created a beast that's kind of like uncontrollable? You kind of have to really think about that for a minute. Have they created a beast that they can't even control? It's kind of like a monster movie. You know, like some evil scientist is experimenting with technology, and all of a sudden, boom, you know, there's a big problem in the world, and, you know, you've got like some monster attacking the fucking city. That's kind of what it is. I mean, the internet is like attacking society in a lot of different ways. You know, and think about it, you know, the internet, we wouldn't have even had this email server scandal if it wasn't for that. Why does it seem like everybody in my fucking area owns a fucking SUV? It's like fucking crazy. Every single body owns a fucking SUV. Am I the only one who drives a fucking sedan? Anyway, on that note, guys, future videos to come on this topic. If I could think of anything else to say on it, I'm sure I can. I could go on and on about this, but it will just kind of be repetitious really after a while. So, alright guys, let me know what you think.